News Listeners Participation Program.
Talk Today.
What's on your mind, K-Man? If you're ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Discussing current events and local news, community spotlights, hot topics, listener stories, cultural and historical discussions, environmental issues, fun and lighthearted topics, guest interviews. K-Man, basically anything you want to talk about, we are ready to listen. Here's your guest host, Charles Glidden.
Coming up next, we get an update from the National Drug Council on their efforts to keep us safe on the roads of Cayman during the holiday season. And we'll open the phone line so you will let us know what's on your mind. Talk Today next on Radio Cayman. Stay with me.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Talk Today is reminding you
to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
And now, back to Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Charles Glidden. Good to have you aboard. And I hope you're having a good day. It's a nice afternoon here in Georgetown. Not that hot. We're going to be joined later on in the show by Simmon Miller from the National Drug Council, along with Pc Watts, to tell us about their activities, trying to keep us safe on our roads during the busy holiday season. In the meantime, with that in mind, the question on the table this afternoon, do we meaning we as a people, as a community, take driving under the influence of alcohol, and I guess under the influence of drugs. That's a reality also. Like people smoking ganja and driving, that sort of thing. Do we take driving under the influence seriously enough in Cayman? How do we feel about people who are convicted of drunk driving, or even people that we know who drive under the influence? Maybe they just have a few drinks on a Friday night, Friday evening. They go to happy hour, have a few drinks to ease the stress of the work week. Do we view them as some sort of outcast because they then go get in their car and drive home? Do we see them as an irresponsible person, a negligent person, a person who doesn't care about the possibility of hurting someone or even killing another person? Or is drinking and driving the kind of behavior that we see as something, you shouldn't do it, but, you're not really a bad person, so we kind of overlook that bad behavior. As long as you didn't get in an accident or hurt or kill somebody, then you're just being a little naughty. In places like the United States and the UK, societal attitudes have undergone a massive shift over the last 50 years. What was once casually accepted as what was casually accepted has now become viewed as unacceptable, and that was driven by public information, films, and advocacy groups. Like I'm sure you've heard about Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MAD. I think it was the Mothers Against Drunk Driving campaign that led the U.S. Congress to make the national minimum legal drinking age in the U.S. 21. A lot of places was just 18 in most states. But because of that campaign, the Congress made it a federal drinking age, and they put it at 21. And that was as far back as 1984. In many countries, the strongest deterrent to drunk driving is social stigma and shame. Way beyond just the legal punishment of maybe losing your license or a hefty fine. For example, in Sweden, if you're arrested for drunk driving, that's considered a social and personal catastrophe, leading to behaviors like designated drivers. Now that's a common thing in Sweden because of how society, how your neighbor views you if you're arrested for drunk driving or just being over the limit. And that's what the National Drug Council, who will be joining us later, that's what they've been trying to get people to accept doing here, to see that even if, you're going to just have a few drinks, that you act responsibly. If you're going to go out and you want to drink while you're out, you have some plan about getting home safe, whether you're going to use a taxi or you're going with other people and somebody's going to be the designated driver. You just know how you're going to get home, and you're not going to have to drive since you plan to have a few drinks. So what's the gap between Sweden and Cayman when it comes to our attitude towards people who drive under the influence or being over the legal limit? In Sweden, if you're arrested for drunk driving or driving over the limit, you're looked at as something of a social pariah, I guess. But in Cayman, I think we are still, you're still easily forgiven for driving over the limit as long as no harm is done, right? You got home okay without incident. I don't think a person who is arrested for driving over the limit is going to feel some great shame about being arrested for being over the limit. We haven't reached that degree of disdain for a person found to be driving over the limit in Cayman. You might not even be considered to be drunk, not in the popular sense of the word anyway. You know what I mean? Like when a person is staggering all over the place and acting stupid. You might say, oh, he's a little tipsy, or had a couple of drinks. Cayman's blood alcohol content, or BAC as it's known, is 0.07%, and it doesn't take many drinks to reach that 0.07 limit. It varies, but generally 2 to 4 standard drinks can put someone at 0.07% BAC. And that all depends very much on the person's weight, the sex, food intake, how fast you drink. You know, and a lighter person or someone drinking quickly will reach the limit faster, while a heavier individual or those who eat, you know, before or during their drinking, they'll need more drinks. For example, a 140-pound male might hit the limit around 0.07 to 0.08 with just 3 drinks, but a 200-pound male might need 4 or more. And I'll take a break, but come back to this right after these messages.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Yes, Cayman, what's on your mind? And I've been telling you what's on mine about our attitudes toward drunk driving. I want to hear from you. 1-800-534-8255 is a toll-free number, courtesy of Flo. 949-8047 is another line you can reach us on. Or, if you like WhatsApp, 925-3261 is the WhatsApp number. And before we broke away there, I was talking about what it takes to reach the 0.07 blood alcohol content, which is the limits that has been set in Cayman now. And doesn't take much. Again, depending on, you know, how heavy you are, whether you're eating before or after, or, you know, how fast you drink. But 2 beers, just 2 beers, will typically result in a blood alcohol content of around 0.03 to 0.07. 2 beers. But again, you know, it depends on your weight, male or female, how fast you drink, if you're eating or not, and the strength of the beer. You know, so again, lighter individuals or people drinking faster are going to be reaching the limit much quicker than you know, someone who's just taking their time drinking, or they're much heavier. 150-pound female might hit 0.06, while a 200-pound male might reach 0.04 after 2 standard beers. So even though the perception might be that the person is not drunk, they may have reached that limit. And, you know, you go out on the road and something happens, and the police want to take a breathalyzer test, you might say, "Oh, I didn't have that much to drink," but you know, once you do that test, you just might go over the limit there. And how do we look at people who drink and drive? That's what I'm asking you. You know, do we kind of wink at that kind of behavior? Or do we really, look at it with disdain as it would be in some other countries? Because once you get behind the wheel of a vehicle, lots of times it's all about judgment. It's not that, you're not trying to drive carefully, or you're not going all over the road, but lots of times it's just judgment. You're at a stop sign and traffic is coming, and you have to time when that car that is coming down the road, how you have to do that subconscious calculation of how fast that car is going, how much distance between me and them, and can I safely pull out. And a couple of drinks will sometimes, depending again on other conditions, impair your judgment. So what's the attitude toward people driving under the influence? By the way, if you're trying to find us on, online, YouTube or Facebook, we're still in the control room. We haven't got into our new studio yet. Still some work going on there. So I'm in the control room, and you can't hear us on YouTube. You can hear us, but you can't see us. And did you go out during the holidays? Did you use the purple bus or?
No, I didn't do anything. I was just spending time with family at home.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything much.
So
I've actually never driven on the purple ribbon bus before, even in the past. But I've heard people using it. But no, this year it was just spending time at home. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people did that.
Yeah,
that's what I did too. But how do you think people view other people that drink and drive? I don't know. Cayman still seems to kind of, as long as you don't hurt anybody, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I've heard people speak about is kind of like the, I don't want to say the lack of any transport, any good transportation. That's what I've heard, but I don't understand because I see taxi services and I've seen, the purple ribbon service around that time. So that's what I've heard, but I don't understand why that is the complaint. But yeah,
so they say there's no transportation.
Yeah,
alternate transportation.
No alternate transportation, or I guess affordable transportation.
So, yeah.
But the purple ribbon is free, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see what kind of response they got this time.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think other people look at people who drive and drink? Do they look at them in a really disdainful manner, like how could you do such a thing? Yeah. Or is it kind of still accepted as long as you?
That's a tough one. I think it depends on which side of the situation you're on. I think if you're on a side where you're affected by it, then
If you're a victim,
you're a victim, right? Or a family member of a victim, then you're probably looking at it from that person is disgusting or whatever the situation might be. But if you're on the other side, the friend of the person, probably say, hey, well, at least you didn't, or that's what I've been seeing, which I don't think is accepted. I think that it should be looked on as a very serious situation, because you're not able to fully function, correctly behind the wheel. So, yeah, I don't. So that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's
that's a tough one.
Like I was saying, so many times in driving, it's a judgment call, right? And alcohol, whether it's alcohol or drugs, your judgment is affected.
Yeah.
And but I still have this feeling that people don't. You're not gonna like shame someone, or if someone is arrested for being over the limit and convicted, it's not like they're gonna hang their head in shame because now people look at me as being a irresponsible bad person who got behind the wheel of a car and drove while I was over the limit, and it could possibly have killed someone.
Yeah.
I took that chance. There's really no shame to it.
I mean, I think to an extent, I think with social media today, if you pay attention to some of the comments with some of these posts in certain situations, I think you do see some people, saying, hey, you deserve the full extent of the law. You'll see these types of comments. So I think things are changing to where people are taking it more serious and looking at it, with a little bit more disgust. Right.
Well, I guess that's a good thing. We were talking yesterday about social media being good and bad.
Right.
People being influenced by social media in that, being influenced to look more critically at people who would get in a car and they're drunk or over the limit. I think we have someone on the WhatsApp there. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today. Hello? Hello, you're on the air with Talk Today. Well, it looks like we have a call, but I guess we missed that one. Yeah. So, we want to hear from you as to what you think the attitudes in Cayman are. Do we still accept it to a certain amount? As far as driving after having a few drinks, or is it changing? I mean, a lot of we would not be the only place where having a few drinks and then driving is still accepted on a limited basis, as long as no one is hurt, as long as you don't get in an accident. I mean, I've even, and I guess it's been a while since, as I get older now, but in days gone by, it would sort of be bragging rights. You'd hear guys, talking about, oh man, I don't know how I got home last night, but boy, I don't even remember driving home.
Yeah,
but, and it was like, like how bad I've been, but bad, like, that's cool, right? That's how I know. In the past, I've heard guys talking that way about drinking and driving, and it's like it's cool, and it's so uncool, and like you say, if you're a victim, or you're the family of a victim, you know it's not cool. You know how terrible it is, right?
Right.
But and sometimes people don't even, when they drink and drive, they're not even thinking about the impact that they can have. It's not just that you might get in an accident. It's just not that you might just hurt someone, but if you kill someone, just think of the impact that you have on that whole family. You hurt multiple people. You change multiple lives with that one act, right? We need to take a break. So be right back.
The 7 a.m. Sports Report, brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
Follow Radio
Social
K-Man
media, X, formerly Twitter,
Facebook.
Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube.
Download
Our official Radio K-Man app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiokman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
all the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio K-Man. Radio K-Man's Talk Today. What is on your mind, K-Man?
Welcome back. What is on your mind, K-Man? Pick up the phone. Give me a call and let's chat. 1-800-534-8255. That's a toll-free line, courtesy of Flow. You can also reach us on 949-8047 or WhatsApp. That number is 925-3261. And I'm in the control room here with Yannick, and we've been chatting about drinking and driving and K-Man's attitude toward people who are arrested or people that we know that will have a few drinks and go over the limit but still drive. What's our attitude toward that? Is it changing to the point where we really look down on someone who does that, or is it still, kind of accepted as long as you don't hurt anybody? It's drinking and driving can be such a serious thing. But do we take it seriously enough? The courts take it serious. You can, be fined up, I think it's $1,000, 6 months in jail, or maybe even more. You can lose your license. So the laws are there, but lots of times how you're viewed in the community is more impactful than even having to pay $1,000 because you were driving under the influence. Does the general society still accept us, or give it a little wink there, like you've been a bad boy, but I know you're generally a good person, so we're not gonna castigate you, we're not gonna throw you out of the tribe. You still my bobo, right? but try and do a little better, Try and do a little better. And we have someone on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, and you?
I'm okay.
You're talking about drinking and driving, or drinking, period, and everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, basically, Kim has become a bar hopping situation, a liquor store situation in this island. We got the liquor stores at just about every corner, even some churches. We got people drinking and driving boldly, having the bottle of beer up to their head, driving, and the bottle is not even up into a bag like how the American people do it.
Well, that's an offense right there.
Yes. I remember when I was in Tampa, I went to church with my sister-in-law, and the church, I didn't realize what the store was next door to the church in Tampa. So I said to my sister-in-law, why is everybody going over there after the church? So Jane, it's a liquor store. I'm like, what?
Why?
Come from church and going straight to the liquor store? Well, we got that going on right when came out because the liquor store, the majority of them is open on Sundays.
Are they now?
The store, the gas station has the liquor in it selling now too, so you can get it.
Yeah.
At your beck and call. So that was news to me. That was a shock to me, and so this liquor situation. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
This liquor situation here in this island. Let me tell you something. The way that they are opening stores and the way that they're opening gas stations and hotels and condos that probably have a little restaurant that can carry the liquor, it's not going to get. It's hard to take the individual to say, you know what? I go to work all month and I'm spending half my paycheck on liquor, and I'm talking about those that actually are living here amongst us, saying that Cayman is so expensive, they can't pay the rent, they don't make the decent salary. And when you cross certain places on a Friday, even trying to get home, they jam tight. That is their prerogative. That's their business. But don't complain. Don't blame me or you or the government that you can't make enough money to pay your bills when you just get off and go straight to the bar hopping. And that's their business. But don't complain that Cayman is expensive and Cayman is not what it used to be years ago. And Cayman is this and Cayman is that. I'm going back home and I am at a position, I'm going to that. Really? Well, like I don't tell you, I am willing to give anyone who wants a free ride just to make it too early to interfere with my school job. I am willing to give some free rides to the airport, not home from a bar room. So you just went and got drunk and wasted your money when you got children or a family, or you got yourself to maintain here or overseas or wherever you may have them. It is okay, I guess, for them to have a little drink, but somebody was overboard. If someone was crossing 2 towns just the other day, what did they have up in their hand drinking? Sometimes I think they come out and test the police officer that who's hanging around there for a little while. I see it's like they come straight driving fast. Sometimes when they're not driving fast, they got the music whine out. And so I said, know what kind of police that be in the area? The one that we do now on a regular basis, the cruise ship. And still, we can't get sufficient officers out there in the 3 and 4 and 5 cruise ships to direct traffic. Now, one day this month coming up, or 2 days of this month here, I think we're going to have the schedule say like 5 cruise ships. I am hoping that, I'm going to call it Mr. Peanut, going to consider to do something downtown Georgetown in regards to traffic. Plus, officers down there to walk a Sheepgate Road and the mall there, Bayshore Mall, where pedestrian crossing as well too. and crossing all, just say crossing all over the area because some of them were walking the pedestrian, some weren't. Let me get a little something. I was on the West Bay Road, and I saw a gentleman on the sidewalk riding his bicycle. Okay, I said okay. I got the pedestrian, so I'm going to go on my pedestrian, continue to go across, because Charlotte, he was not in the pedestrian area at the present time. And I don't know, but when I went partial the pedestrian crossing, I saw this individual in the space, and I'm like, no man, I don't believe this. That man's bicycle wheel was between front driving passenger side and my back passenger side. That's where his bicycle was lined up with, between those two doors of my car. I say, I don't believe you. I don't believe you because I know that I did not do anything wrong. But I don't know what he was expecting me to do. And he was just zoom across, which after I moved, look back at him in the mirror, and he zoom across him right over to the next side of the road. These people need to take responsibility of it. We got lights there for them to touch. Oh, and talking about lights. You see the road I came around this building downtown where they got the pedestrian crossing there?
Uh-huh.
Going to the hospital, to the police station, or going to Gordon Avenue. We got a pedestrian crossing there, right? And Charlotte, there's not stop light or pedestrian crossing is there for anyone to press when they cross to go to Royal Bank, or coming from Royal Bank, or coming from OK this building, or vice versa. No lights are there. So we got things out here for these people. We got to wear a sign saying, use your indicator. Can you imagine all these grown folks that are called themselves drivers, adults? We got to put up an indicator. Come on, man. Where are we living? What time are we living in?
Basic rules. You shouldn't have to put up the sign, though. But listen, before we go to the news, right? Let me ask you, how do you think people in Cayman look? How do we view other people who drive and drink it, under the influence, driving under the influence? Do we look down on them? Do we kind of say, oh well, that's what people do, or do we just, when a person is arrested for drunk driving or driving under the influence, do we look down on them? Do we look at them with disdain, or we give them a blight?
We don't give them no blight, and we do not look down upon them. We are doing what is right to save lives on our streets, especially when it comes to alcohol bottle, to be driving on our roads and drinking and driving on that, and you're drunk as you can be, and you know you can't make it home, and you still got that little pride in you. Oh, I ain't calling nobody, I can make it home myself. I don't need no help. But then again, did you make it home safe? Majority makes it home safe all the time? I don't think so. It is sad. But look at the lives that get destroyed too on the road from these drunk driving people. I went to California some years ago with my brother from Arizona. Me and my little old friends up there in the Brock. It was a beautiful drive. But when we got into some part of California, and saw the side road full of these light up posters showing you all of these accidents has happened, caused from so many different things. I mean, those cars are full up. Those cars are this, those cars are that. And I even said here at the radio that we need to put some posters up on our roads to show what these drunk drivers or regular accidents that's happening on our roads. We'll see if it could help control the drunk driving and the stupidness of these speeders.
Yeah, see the results of it. Listen, I got to break in on you. But thanks for calling. You have a good afternoon. Right. You hear?
Oh, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. It's 1 o'clock. Let's check in with the newsroom.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, This is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Elizabeth Charles. The Mosquito Research and Control Unit is taking its mosquito fighting mission to new heights, literally. This week, MRCU is carrying out drone training and calibration across Grand Cayman, building pilot skills and fine-tuning equipment for future field use. The new technology will help target mosquito breeding sites that ground teams and aircrafts can't easily reach, improving efficiency and safety in hard-to-access areas. From drones to self-driving cars, NVIDIA is pushing AI from screens into the real world, unveiling a new platform it says will let self-driving cars reason, explain their decisions, and handle rare, complex road scenarios. At CES in Las Vegas, CEO Jensen Huang said the platform is already being used with Mercedes to power a driverless car expected to launch in the United States in the coming months, before expanding to Europe and Asia, positioning NVIDIA as a platform provider for physical AI rather than just a chip supplier. U.S. President Donald Trump has acknowledged that, quote, many Cubans were killed during what he called a, quote, brilliant operation to seize Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro. Cuba says 32 of its nationals died when U.S. elite troops stormed Maduro's Caracas compound on Saturday. Armed police now patrol the streets of Caracas as pro-government forces pledge loyalty, chanting, quote, loyal always, traitors never. Those are the latest headlines. I'm Elizabeth Charles.
Radio Cayman. More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
At HSA, we strive to provide the highest standard of care with compassion, integrity, and dedication. And so we say thank you, Cayman, for continuing to make us the most awarded organization on island by voting us the best of Cayman Islands in 9 medical categories. Your support reminds us why we do what we do, to serve the Cayman community with kindness and excellence. To find out more about our award-winning services, visit hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Alfred Berman Scott, 1914 to 1989. Alfred Scott was schooled in Jamaica and went to sea as a young man and then to Panama, where he worked on the canal. When he returned home to Cayman Brac, he worked as a contractor and manufacturer of concrete blocks made on a homemade machine, floor tiles and aggregate. He served in the Legislative Assembly in the early 1970s, representing Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, and was a Baptist preacher for a number of years. He was a philanthropist who was widely loved and respected. Mr. Scott, who was married to Miss Alta Aurelia Henderson, was a model husband and father who raised 12 outstanding citizens. Another son died at an early age.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back to the show. And what is on your mind, Cayman? We've been talking about driving and drinking, driving under the influence, and we're going to continue that discussion. But first, let me just check on the weather here. The forecast for today calls for isolated showers for the afternoon, partly cloudy this evening, and partly cloudy tonight with northeast winds at 10 to 15 knots and seas running at 2 to 4 feet. And joining me in the studio now is R. Simon Miller of the National Drug Council, and also PC Athelston.
Watts. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. Happy New Year to you.
Blessing, good afternoon to you, sir, and your listeners, and Happy New Year to everyone out there.
So we started out the show by talking about, the society's attitude toward people driving and drinking. And, I think in Cayman we still have a very lax attitude to it, as, kind of, if you get home safe, well, you're okay. As long as you don't hurt anyone, it's all right for you to get behind the wheel after having a few drinks. What do you think the attitude is in Cayman compared to a place like Sweden, where it's very critical of anyone who would ever get behind the wheel after drinking?
Good afternoon to sir. Good afternoon to the listeners out there in Radio Land. It obviously is a very relaxed attitude. Unfortunately, I do believe that this is one of those offenses where persons, how I like to describe is persons think that they are invincible, all right, or invisible, in the sense where, they can consume alcoholic beverage. And may I also add not just alcohol but also drugs from that perspective, because driving under the influence of drugs is also an offense, yes? And they believe that once they do that, then it is okay to drive, and just because they get home safe last week when they did it, they are going to get home safe this week, in doing it. And the attitude should change, yeah? And I would readily hope that persons living in these wonderful islands in this year, 2026, will change that attitude. And if you are going to go out and consume alcohol, then you should think about not driving, or ask your friends, or, get a taxi to take you home. So, we need to get away from that relaxed attitude and think that it's okay, because we never know what is too much. And, that's one of the behavior that we need to change. What is too much? And if I drink this amount, I am okay, and you just may not be okay.
And so often in driving, it's all about a judgment call, and it doesn't take much alcohol to just throw your judgment off, estimating how fast that car is coming and how far away is it from you. Can I cross the street before it gets here?
Yeah.
You got to do that calculation subconsciously.
Yeah, you have to. And in my years of experience, being a police officer and working at traffic and dealing with a significant amount of collisions, both just regular collisions and serious or even fatal collisions, nobody knows how much is too much, and it is absolutely important for persons to always remember that. It takes less than 0.01 of a second for an accident to happen, and anything that impairs your ability to remain conscious, because driving on the roads, you must remain conscious. You must always have everything, your whole wits about you, as they would say. I'm not a doctor, but I know that once anything impairs that judgment, then, anything can happen on the road without you having that reaction time to deal with it once the ability is impaired to effectively drive that vehicle while you're on the road.
We have a caller that's been hanging in there for us. Can I get you to put on those headphones so you can hear the call? So let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air. You want to talk to us about driving under the influence?
Hey, hello. Good afternoon, man.
Good afternoon.
Well, I don't want to talk about driving under the influence, but I'm a recovering alcoholic here, man. I struggled 6 years with that. And one of the biggest reasons that I'm alive today is that I never bought a car. I really took my mother's advice when I was younger, because I started to crash them when all my buddies were dying from car accidents in West Bay and Georgetown. Those times I was crashing at least 3 of them.
You crashed
learning
3
to
cars?
Drive. Yeah, learning to drive and drinking alcohol at the same time.
Oh.
Until I was 18 years old, then it was GLIDDEN Beach Corner, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I turned over in a Volkswagen there. Alcohol in my body, same way. But after a while, I really took my mother's advice, and I never bought no car, man. I stuck with the bike, and I still ride the bicycle because it makes my legs feel good. But right now, this year would be 7 years since I stopped.
Well, congratulations.
I stopped. This is not the benefit of a rehab or Alcoholics Anonymous. I stopped. I looked in the mirror and I stopped. And I'll never encourage no young man or whoever he is to walk that road. But I tell you, the way man going today, you really got to look on life, Not every day is the same day. Every day, man, woman have problems. And every day, they do that. Run to the bar room to think that that's going to help solve their problems. And it's not working. It never worked for those before you. It's not going to work for you neither. You understand? It only makes the problems worse. That's what I find that, one of the things I find out after 60 years, this don't help you, my friend, because, you get drunk and you probably fall asleep someplace. And when you wake again, the problem is 3 times as bad. You understand? But like I say, every day cannot be the same day. And people got problems, relationship problems, sex problems, money problems, all kind of things. Every day you have to face those. An alcoholic is going to have a drink every day, because I've been there, Chalo.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Every day. And let me tell you, man, I was a horrible drinker, man. 6 beers, it took me no time to drink 6 beers. And I used to have Miss Gwen Bush from South Sound as a drinking partner. And we didn't take too long to drink a case of beer each. Drinking and just going to the bathroom. Me and her, head to head. And she could drink, let me tell you. But Charlo, I was lucky. I was lucky when I stopped. I had some good physical examinations. All my organs at 78 is still functioning. And I'm just grateful to God, man, that I crossed those rivers,
Well, you keep it up. You keep straight.
Hello, let me tell you, Chalo, I'm not going back to now. Age catch up on me, and I'm going back to now for him because I'm still suffering from alcohol. You understand?
I understand.
Emotional problems. I'm still suffering from alcohol, and I will suffer until I die for the choices that I made with those things in life. So have a good afternoon, my brother.
Thanks for the call.
Yep.
Keep it up.
Yep.
How, listening to him, what's your reaction there?
I want to thank the caller for calling and sharing his personal experience. I agree with you. You know, we have to congratulate people like that. You know, whatever the reason or reasons were for him reaching that point where he decided, you know, he's had enough. He's to be commended. And, you know, there's, unfortunately, you know, there are other people in this society who are going through similar things. So I thank him for sharing that, because maybe what he said here this afternoon may touch someone in a way that for them to reflect and look at their lives and say, okay, well, let me start to do things differently.
How did the Purple Ribbon campaign go? It
went very well. It went as expected. You know, you were talking about earlier, Pc Watts and yourself, and we were talking about, you know, people's mindset, and it's always an awesome thing to see when December 31st rolls around and people utilize the service. So we know that we have a society that has control and can make those sort of responsible decisions to utilize the service. And what we're trying to do is encourage people to don't only do that on December 31st, do that throughout the year. Let that become the pattern, the practices of persons, whether you're visiting these islands, whether you live on these islands, no matter what. We want to see that sort of practice happen here, where it becomes just a cultural thing. It becomes the thing of the Cayman Islands. And so we know that mindset can change, because the proof is seen on December 31st for the past 25 years.
So have you seen the change happening over those 25 years, where people are more conscious of you know, being careful and taking care of business?
Yeah,
as far as designated drivers.
Well, what we have seen this year, you know, is we've seen much more planning. People making more responsible decisions ahead of time. We were encouraging them, you know, from early this year to, you know, designate before you celebrate. That was our catchphrase. But we saw people actually planning, people reaching out to us, people studying our routes to know how to get from point A to point B. So it was very rewarding to see that. Again, that is showing that, you know, small steps towards that mindset change that we want to see happen throughout the year.
And educating through your campaign.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I know people, we hear on this show a lot about the lack of police presence on the roads, but I saw you out there during December.
That is correct. And
I saw you guys in action.
we had Operation Winter Guardian during the almost the entire month of December into the first week of January, where an increased presence of police, you know, was seen on the roads. We were out there continuing to, you know, ensure that the community stay safe. We were visiting commercial areas. We had a high visibility of police patrols on the roads. We had our police operations. We were out there looking for some of those wanted persons who've been trying to evade us. We had our vehicle checkpoints, and overall the whole traffic enforcement that was ramped up. And so, unfortunately, and unlike what Simon said, where we saw a lot of persons using those buses December during the last week of December into January, we also had those persons who I spoke about earlier who believe that it is okay to consume alcohol or drugs and to drive on the roads. But they would have learned, and several of them, the statistics will come, you'll get those stats a bit later on, but several persons were arrested over the time that we had Operation Winter Guardian going on for driving under the influence of alcohol, and some also under the influence of drugs, as well as a lot of other persons were prosecuted for several other traffic offenses. So we were out there, and what was rewarding for me was when a person would call my phone or send a message and says, PC Watts, it's like you guys are every corner in the Cayman Islands. So that was absolutely wonderful to hear, because the police presence was there. And it is important for us as a service as well to, not just be there, but to ensure that we are communicating with the members of the community, going into those business communities, into the shops, and, having dialogue with the patrons and the persons who work there alike. And that is what we do. So it was not all enforcement. We did a lot of education as well, where we spoke to persons about some of the new laws which are going to be coming into effect soon as it relates to, those e-bikes and all of those motorized scooters, bicycles, whatever they are called, the different names. And so it was really, really a wonderful time to, to be out there and to engage in the community in general.
So those checkpoints that you set up, it netted more than just people that were driving under the influence.
It netted a whole lot of different offenders. We were able to, effect arrest of wanted persons who, were evading us, as I said earlier, for a while. Other offenses, not just traffic offenses, but criminal offenses. We've had persons arrested for possession of controlled substance drugs, as well as persons who consume drugs, because there's a difference when you stop a car and you speak to the driver or the patrons inside the vehicle. There's a certain smell that comes off, that you'll differentiate between the smell of intoxicant to that of drugs. And so those persons have been arrested for those offenses as well.
Are you operating also under the kind of vibe you're picking up? Maybe you don't smell anything, but just your instinct of how a person is acting?
Instinct and information in terms of intelligence, because there are times when we are at a checkpoint and we'll get a phone call, or we will, somebody will come up and say, oh, that vehicle coming behind, the driver was at X place and they may be, and so again, we act upon those information. So if that vehicle comes along, we can cause that vehicle to stop and we'll have a conversation with the driver. And, if it warrants us doing a roadside breath test to find out if that person has consumed alcohol beyond the legal limit, then that will be done.
Any estimates on how many people use the bus service?
No, but we know the buses were very, very busy. We're, like PC Watts said, we're all doing our looking at our information and finalizing the numbers, and we'll get that out to the public. But, beyond the numbers, the fact that people utilize the service, people were planning ahead, that sort of outcome is what we want to see ultimately.
So, and I guess this is to both of you, what stood out to you most about the public and the behavior of the public this year during the holiday period?
One main thing that stood out to me in general was the cooperation that we received from, members of the public, and might I add, appreciation. As I said, persons were very happy to see us in numbers, not just seeing the police car drive by, but actually seeing the police cars parked and the officers walking on foot, meeting and greeting, and just having that general communication with us, with members of the RCIPS. Unfortunately, what did not stand out for me, or what was not impressive for me, was still the amount of persons we had to arrest and the amount of persons who we had to prosecute for various traffic offenses. I would have, and as I've said to people, I would have loved not to stop you, or even if I stop you, but just to have a conversation, but not to give you a ticket and to take money from your pocket, which you could use to do something more constructive. But because of the choice that person made by not having their registration renewed, or drinking and driving, or driving whilst disqualified, which is where your driver's license is taken by the courts and you still choose to drive a vehicle on the roads, which then makes you driving without insurance, and that's a big thing. So that choice that you made, unfortunately, would have then forced me to effect an arrest or to prosecute you for that offense. So that's the downside for me. I would love to see, and with the rest of time I have in this service, I want to see on a yearly basis, I would love to see that part of it goes down. So while we are out there having all these high visibility and these vehicle checkpoints, but to see less persons being prosecuted by them complying with our traffic laws and all the other laws within these islands.
Anything stood out to you this year, Simon?
I'm going to echo the same sentiments, Charlo, that I said. The fact that people planned ahead, it shows that shift towards, responsible decision making, whether they choose a safe ride home option or just thinking twice before getting behind the wheel of the car. That is what stood out to us, and so I can't echo or thank you to those persons who, operated in that way, planned, utilized the service in that way, designated before they went out to celebrate. So that is sort of the mind shift, what we want to see these islands move towards.
How much does the National Drug Council work with the police? Is that
the police is a very essential stakeholder to us at the National Drug Council. A campaign of this magnitude cannot be done by one agency alone. It's a collection, collective bodies of people who work together. The many private stakeholders, private donors towards this sort of campaign. It's costly. It's very costly. So it cannot happen by one agency alone operating in a silo. So working with the RCIPS over the past 25 years, towards this campaign and other initiatives that we do is very vital, very essential.
Would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, it is. Multidisciplinary and interactive approach is always a big thing. It is obviously one of those disciplines that the civil service works towards in becoming the world-class civil service, where we work together as a team, as one team, in order to ensure that everything that is done within these islands is done where everyone benefits positively. And just to wrap up, I just want to implore the persons out there on the roads, persons who are using the roads, just to continue to take the necessary precautions, continue to ensure that you're driving safely, continue to make sure that you don't speed on the roads. It's very expensive to speed, and persons who get speeding tickets will know that. So you don't want to be speeding on the road. Make sure your vehicles, the registration and inspection, they are all up to date. Make sure you have insurance, and make sure that you don't drink and drive. And as we continue throughout 2026, it is important that we work towards getting that road to zero, as in zero fatalities throughout the year. We work towards doing our part in ensuring that we achieve that in this year and continuing beyond.
I know you said you didn't have the stats. They're still being compiled, but were there any serious accidents over the holiday period?
We didn't have... We had a couple that, were not. From what I've experienced over the past years, this year was a good one as it relates to that. And now, if you know anything about policing, we don't like to say that, because then, as the Asian people would say, something is going to happen. But no, to answer your question, we didn't have anything serious, or absolutely we didn't have any fatal collisions, which is a big plus for us during December.
So, yeah, you can chalk it up as a good holiday period for 2025, I guess.
Indeed, it was. Again, would have loved to see less people being arrested for some of those traffic offenses and being prosecuted, but it is what it is.
Simon, any final message that you want to send out to, especially the people who helped you to put this campaign together?
A huge thank you to everyone involved, Chalo. This is a good indication that prevention works when it's accessible. Giving people practical options, and you'll see people will use it, and that is a good demonstration of what happened with the service and the AA 345 campaign on a whole.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us and giving us an update on your efforts during the holiday period. And I guess a lot of people would like to see the police that often on the streets all the time. But before we go, did you have to pull a lot of people, like, who would normally be behind a desk or something, put them on patrol to have that kind of presence?
Yes, that was one of the initiatives that was taken. So persons who normally, and even persons who wore plain clothes, they were all dressed in uniforms, and that was one of the the initiative that was taken to increase the presence of policing. Officers who were also on regular rest days, they also came out and they worked on some of their rest days, ensuring that in between working they would have got enough rest so that they could be effective whilst being out there. So yes, that was one of the initiatives that was taken.
Simmon Miller, PC Watts, thank you for being here. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back with more Talk Today.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. The ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom. The land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
If you're riding an e-bike or scooter, the rules of the road apply. These devices are treated the same as motor vehicles. You must be at least 17 years old, hold a valid Category 0 or Category 2 driver's license, and your device must be registered, licensed, and insured. You must obey traffic signals, road signs, and road markings, and operate only where permitted by law. These are existing legal requirements. Enforcement begins 16 January.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and it's good news there as far as traffic accidents during the holiday period, and we can put a check mark for the 2025 holiday period as far as road accidents is concerned, especially road fatalities. We have a caller on the line, so let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Yeah, Chalo. Good afternoon again, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Chalo, I not too often now, because I don't really want to go back into that too often, but sometimes I have to talk about it. It's very important that I talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I wonder how I became an alcoholic. But then I accept that on both sides of my family was nothing but alcoholics.
Well, there's some evidence that it is hereditary.
Yeah, and but I'm happy to say that I had a mother that I never seen drink any alcohol. She was sober all the time,
mm-hmm.
and I'm happy that I had her as a mother. But like I said, Chalo, on both sides of my family was alcoholics. My friend, that's what I grew up in. Plus, my father. And if it wasn't family-wise, every day, even going to school, Chalo, I remember walking home from school on Hell Road, West Bay. I used to see man drunk laying down on the side of the road.
Yeah.
That was that time. I don't know where the money came from, but they were drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they were.
If they had $2, they spent it on liquor, right?
Yeah, man. Let me tell you, and I guess at 8 years old, I found myself draining one of my uncle's rum bottles.
At 8 years old.
At 8 years old, Chalo, I never forget that, and many times I have to wonder why. Was it loneliness? Whatever it was, because I grew up very lonely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man, but from that time, and it kept getting worse. As I had put that chemical into my body, Chalo, I remember my first beer was given to me at 13 years old at a dance in West Bay Town Hall many, many years ago, man. Well, if I had known where that beer would have taken me through life, maybe I wouldn't have drank that.
Yeah, back in those days, Robert, people had such a a lackadaisical attitude toward liquor. I mean, I can remember hearing about even a parent giving a child liquor to drink, and then thought it was funny how the liquor made the child act. You know.
And I believe those things still goes on too, Jello. Because I've witnessed those things in my lifetime. Fathers giving children the ganja spliff. I mean, little children, you know, just to see the reaction.
Yeah.
All those things. I believe they still go on, you know, and I don't know, I don't have no evidence to that, but I believe they still go on, you know. God have mercy on them. But, Charles, like I explained just so, the drinking and driving, I don't see that, don't care how many fines they pay. I don't see that stopping, my friend, because, like I say, every day, it cannot be the same day. And man got problems. Man and woman got problems. And the first, loneliness is one of the problems as well. The first place they're going to run, a bar room. You understand? When the lady spoke a while ago, and she was talking about man getting paid at 3 o'clock, and the first place you go is a bar room. I was there.
Mm-hmm.
So sad to say. It makes me feel sad to say. I was there, man. 3 o'clock you get paid. And where you go? A bar room. From a bar room, you go other places that you shouldn't be. If you were a careful person, you wouldn't be in those places and in those kind of companies when you get paid, you know. But I'm happy to say today I'm not there.
Well, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you because I mean, did you hear what Simon said after you hung up? Did you hear his comment about you coming on here and sharing this with us?
Yeah, and I really appreciate that kind of feedback. You know what I mean? Because
you're very brave to come on here and talk about yourself like that.
Well, you see, Chado, when man ends up in these situations in life where you get hurt by something that is your fault, you know, because it's your choices that you make, you know, in life, you know.
Right. We make our own bed, right?
Yeah, man. So when you get hurt like that, and I've been through, I'm not gonna disown it. I've been through a lot of counseling. I've been in front of some good counselors, but that I still remember tools that they give me, and I still use those tools today.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? But like I say, I don't like to really go back into time on alcohol so much. All I want to know that I stay responsible.
Yeah.
That at the end of every 24 hours, I find myself sober in my bed. I'm happy. I'm happy. And I want to tell you, Chalo, today, I never had too much happiness growing up in Cayman Islands. You understand?
Yeah.
As a youth, it was 3 places that I really felt happiness, Chalo, growing up here. Was when I sat beside my mother and to hear her play the guitar and sing for me as a little youth. I was happy. I was very happy. And for myself, personally, happiness was when I was on the bandstand with a microphone in my hand.
I was going to ask you if that was one of them.
and on the football field. People may think I'm crazy, but I felt happy when I was out there playing ball this evening.
Or on stage singing, right?
Yes. But you know, coming up in Cayman again, like I said, I met some responsible and some of Cayman's best businessmen like Norberg Thompson, Ellen Colonel, Adrian Briggs, world-class businessmen, and they were all my buddies, man. But I never one day really looked at how they were living and said to myself as a young youth that I could adopt the way they're living and try to live like them, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
I never one day did it. From the time I started work shallow, from draining my uncle's drum bottles, and I started to work for myself. Life automatically changed then because I'm in the company of smokers and other alcoholics. And like I said, life changed for the worse for me then when it came to drinking alcohol, you know?
Yeah. You said that you've been with some good counselors. Was it the counseling that really helped you to break through?
Well, not to find peace of mind. I had to find that myself and find the honesty. I had to find the honesty in life, being honest to myself. And honest enough that I could share it on radio today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because a long time. I'm very surprised at myself that I have that kind of nerve today that I could tell the world, say, well, this is where I used to be. Yeah, I could sit with the King of England today and say, well, this is where I used to be, but I know I didn't know.
Well, I hope that you coming on the air and talking about yourself and how you used to live and now how you live now is encouraging to some people who are living the way you used to.
Boy, I feel sad.
Encourage them that it can be done.
I feel sad, I'm a parent. I feel sad for Cayman young people. I feel sad because a lot of them is walking on that road. And the company you keep, has a lot to do with it as well, because that word friend,
You don't know who the real friend is.
I don't use it no more, Chalo. I don't use it no more.
The word friend?
I use acquaintance now.
Okay.
I feel more happy with that. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because the word friend, I got in trouble with that along the way, my friend. You understand?
How you mean?
Well, what I'm saying is that you and I are drinking together in a bar room, and you're drinking like a man, but I can't drink like a man. So, in other words, you're telling me, you can have another one. That's not gonna hurt, right? I think back about them little things, right? That man used to say to me to continue to follow him.
Just one more. Let's just have one more, right?
You got it, man. You got it. See, right now, today I look back, they wasn't my friends. Straight. Yeah, man, they wasn't my friends. You understand? Good friends, good bona fide friend. Don't do those things to our friend. I tell you, I heard the Muslims said one time, I met two Muslims from Cayman Islands, and they're talking about how they live. I mentioned that word friend too, and they would start to tell me and say, no, they don't want to hear it. You understand? In other words, how they look at friend. You must be willing to die for me and I die for you. Straight. But in the Western world, we take it as a joke. If you got something that I want, or you my friend. And if I buy you something, I'm your friend.
Mm.
But when I can't buy you, and you can't give me anything, then we're not friends no more. So,
Yeah.
The word acquaintance, that's good enough for me now. You understand?
Yeah.
Chalo, there's so much more you could talk about, my friend, when it comes to that kind of life there. But somebody else want to talk now too. So later. Bye.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, man. Good. All the time.
You keep on the straight and narrow.
Hey, man. I'm thinking about eternity now.
Yeah, okay.
I've been gone for so long because I don't want to go. Nobody don't want to go. But we got to pay that bill.
Yeah.
Hey, that's one bill we have to pay. Cayman government not gonna pay that bill, man.
No, nobody can pay that for you.
Yeah, later then.
Okay. Have a good afternoon.
You too, man.
Yeah, that's very brave of him to come on and talk about his struggle with alcohol and how he has overcome it now, and that's great that he can now look back and say, well, that's all behind me, and living a straight life, because in a small community like Cayman, I guess each of us have known somebody who has struggled with addiction, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, and it comes at all levels, right? I mean, some people, it's more or less a thing where they can function, and some people are totally out of control, where they can't hold a job, they can't have a relationship, because the only relationship that they have is with the alcohol or the drugs. And I've known Robert since we were young in West Bay, and it's great to hear him say how he has overcome his addiction to alcohol, and wish him all the luck. We're going to take a little break here and be right back.
Hey, new drivers, don't just drive smart. Cynical and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cynical motor insurance. Learn more and register at cynical.ky. Cynical, keeping Cayman covered.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.ky or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a second location in Governor's Square. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Pick up the phone. Give me a call. Let's chat. The numbers are 1-800-534-8255. And also, well, I got to say this. I guess that's courtesy of Flow, toll free. You can also reach us at 949-8047 or WhatsApp 925-3261. Is the WhatsApp line working? Apparently, we're having some trouble on WhatsApp there. Some calls have come in, but we don't seem to be connecting. Must be some kind of internet glitch there that we're not hooking up on the WhatsApp line. So looks like if you want to chat, just the phone numbers 1-800-534-8255 and 949-8047. What's on your mind? It's an interesting story. It was in the Compass there today, and about, well, it demonstrates our vulnerability as far as food security. There was a shortage of fresh food because of two things. For one, let's see here, it was a cyber attack which affected Florida-based shipping companies that do business with Cayman. Wow. You know, see, just something like that can have an impact. It wasn't the full reason, because apparently a ship coming out of Miami had mechanical problems also, so the two of them combined produced a shortage of fresh foods here in Cayman. But I think we were talking about this the other day. Yeah, one of our callers was talking about people trying to grow their own food. And I know the agricultural department has been trying to encourage people to have their backyard gardens. You know, they were giving people the essential items to be able to start one up. But just a simple thing like that can interrupt the food supply to Cayman. And, you know, I didn't really notice it, but apparently at some stores, you know, it was quite noticeable for, I guess, the lack of fresh vegetables. And imagine that magnified several times over if for some reason ships couldn't make it out to Miami and make it into the northern Caribbean here. But that is one of the things that has come up lately, and what people think that we should be working towards. Of course, it's very hard for Cayman to, you know, be self-sustainable as far as food is concerned, especially when it comes to growing vegetables and in any kind of quantity that would be able to supply the whole population. And it's a fact of life. You know, we're pretty much dependent on being able to bring in food. But hopefully, you know, the shipping lanes will be always there. We've experienced this before too, with sometimes when you got a slow-moving hurricane or something that is going across the shipping lanes from Florida to Cayman, and ships can't come out of Miami or other Florida ports, and they're delayed, and you know, the hurricane is affecting us, even though it's not anywhere near us. But the ships with the food can't come because the hurricane is interrupting their passageway. And we probably all should be trying to have a little garden growing, right? Not everybody's in that situation where you got enough land to actually grow some tomatoes, maybe some lettuce, cucumbers, that sort of thing. But if you have it, you know, if you got some property that you can use, probably a good idea to have your own fresh vegetables, and at least you know exactly what you're eating. You know, if you want to use pesticides or you try some natural forms of keeping pests off of your crop. Although I've been told that in Cayman, it's, dealing with pests, that's another challenge. And someone once told me, he says, you hear people talking about they don't use any kind of pesticides. Well, they're not telling you the truth. Whether that's so or not, I don't know. But he was saying, well, you got to use something because if you're growing a garden, you're going to get pests, and you're going to have to, deal with it in some way. But I had ambitions of doing a garden, Yannick, but it didn't go beyond having the ambition to do it. Or I should say ambition, but the intention, the intention of doing it. I remember one time I had a tomato plant. I went and actually bought one plant.
Oh, wow.
And I got one tomato.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. Only the plant, one plant. I got one tomato, and I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It was a good tomato.
All right.
Was
it one of the big tomatoes, or the
it was a good sized tomato,
okay.
right?
Yeah. No bad.
I considered it a good try, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take this kind of thing where you can't find fresh vegetables in the store.
Mm-hmm.
You try to see if I can motivate myself to get a grow box.
Yeah.
And get some soil there, grow some tomatoes.
Yeah.
Because I love tomatoes, but I'm not much of a farmer.
Yeah. If you today you can actually go on Amazon and YouTube and get a whole kit of everything.
Yeah.
And kind of just piece it together, and it just does everything by itself.
You mean you don't have to tend the garden? It does it for you?
Well,
it's automated.
If you kinda, if you set it up in the right way, I guess.
I guess if you got a water source going to it and everything,
right,
you can put a timer on it, and it'll water it at the right time of day and all that.
Yeah.
Keep the soil at the right acidity and whatever.
Yep.
And I guess on YouTube you can get all the information that you need about how to do it right.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I mean, is there anything you can't find out how to do? Any instruction that you can't find on YouTube? I mean, all you have to do is say how to do whatever, and you'll find somebody on there with a video that's giving you instructions, right?
Yep.
Sometimes I've run into stuff that there aren't the clearest instructions in the world, but somebody's on there telling you about how to do something. Because that's actually YouTube is like the second biggest search engine in the world. That's really what it is. Is a search engine.
Still owned by Google too.
Who else would it be owned by, right? If it's a search engine. I know sometimes you be watching TV and you see something and you say, I wonder, you want some additional information about it. And you start to type it, and you don't even have to finish the question. Mm-hmm. You see the suggested things coming up already, and you say, gosh, a lot of people must be searching this right now, because it's they know they got all the algorithms and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yep, they have all.
And you don't even have to finish the phrase. They've got the suggested phrases down below. You just tap it, and you get your answer there, because a lot of people are curious about the same thing.
Yeah, very interesting, man.
It is 2 o'clock here at Radio Cayman, and that's news time.
If they are talking about us,
living in your head rent-free all this time,
we must be relevant. Radio Cayman since 1976. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With your headlines, I'm Elizabeth Charles. This month, Cayman Enterprise City hosts 2 Launch Lab Studios workshops at Signal House to help Cayman-based founders move from idea to investment-ready business plans and valuations. On Wednesday, the 14th of January, Laying the Groundwork Business Plan Foundations walks participants through purpose, problem, and solution in an interactive session led by Edmund Reed of Force 10 and UFO Fleet, starting at 5:30 p.m. Then on Wednesday, the 28th of January, Business Valuation 101 offers a high-level introduction to what valuation is, why it matters, and who uses it, with EY's Robert Crockett and David Shibley giving a practical case study on valuing a private company, also from 5:30 at Signal House. Lego is betting big on smart tech, unveiling new smart bricks that might light up, make sounds, and react to movement. But not everyone is celebrating this upgrade. At CES in Las Vegas, the toy maker pitched its Smart Play system, debuting in March with new Star Wars sets, as its most radical innovation in decades, packing tiny sensors, chips, lights, and speakers into a classic 2x4 brick that can sense motion, distance, and other smart pieces nearby. Children's well-being advocates warn the move could undermine what has long made Lego special, arguing that building and, quote, making the sounds yourself is what powers imagination. In Venezuela, at least 14 journalists were detained Monday. The reporters, most working for foreign outlets, were covering the fallout from the dramatic seizure of President Nicolas Maduro by U.S. forces. While most have been released, one was deported, and the Journalists Union says more than 20 media workers remain jailed. Those are the latest headlines. I'm Elizabeth Charles.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
What's on your mind? Well, the weather's on my mind right now. So let's see what the current conditions are. 80 degrees here in Georgetown, and it feels like 85. Winds 13.5 knots out of the east-northeast. Humidity at 80%. And the forecast is calling for isolated showers for the rest of the afternoon. And tonight, partly cloudy skies. And that will continue straight through overnight with winds out of the northeast at 10 to 15 knots. And seas forecast to be slight to moderate, wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. And that's weather outlook for the rest of this afternoon. Well, we're going into the home stretch here at Talk Today. If you want to talk about something, tell us what's on your mind, give us a call. 1-800-534-8255. That's courtesy of Flo, the toll-free number. seems like we're having a little trouble with some of our other numbers here. WhatsApp has been giving us some trouble, and 949-8047. You can try to reach us on that number. And we were actually debating here whether the 949-8037. It's funny how you say these numbers every day, but we don't really hold them in our minds. So that's what's written down here in our improvised Talk Today studio, which is like in between a wall and the council board here, because we're in the control room waiting for our home studio to be completed, all renovated with nice looking stuff. It's looking good, though. I'll tell you, it's looking good. And hopefully we're going to get in there before the week is out. So what's on your mind? Give us a call, or try to at least. Try. If you get through to us, Yannick will put you on. So, but things have been kind of buggy today. And we've been talking about drinking and driving. We have been also heard one of our callers telling us about how he has overcome his addiction to alcohol. And that is something that, we see a lot of in our community. I guess as long as I can remember, alcoholism has always been, with us. It is something that has ruined lives, and it is phenomenal how one person, can handle alcohol quite well. They'll have a drink now and then, maybe a few drinks a week. Maybe they just drink at the end of the week, on the weekend. But other people, they can't handle it. They drink and they drink and they drink. And I've always found it interesting how that is, that one person can just go to nothing. Some people find themselves at the bottom. We've had Brent Hydes in here on a number of occasions talking about addiction and how it just gets the better of people. And sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom before they can really do what they have to do to try to turn their lives around. And even our caller here this afternoon was talking about that he had to get honest with himself. And that's an interesting way of putting it, getting honest with yourself. Because, they say people always have an excuse to give themselves and others as to why they have that drink. And don't just stop with just one drink, but keep going on until it's too much. And we've all seen lives ruined, and personally, I mean, I've seen people who literally drank themselves to death, right? And that is always a very sad thing. But I know there's a lot of different ways of people getting help in our community today. When we were hearing from our caller there, he talked about counseling in Cayman, and how he had some of the best counselors that were available in Cayman. But in the end, when I asked him if it was the counseling, he said it was him getting honest with himself. So it all comes back to people dealing with what is inside of them. But we have places like Caribbean Haven and a lot of private institutions also that people can turn to. And hopefully people who are suffering from alcohol addiction, can find a way to get that help. And the help is there, but it has to be up to the person to, again, be honest with themselves and want to make that change. And without them wanting to make that change, it's not going to happen, because it's all within us and what we want, the choices that we make. We make choices, and then we have to live with those choices. And some people never seem to be able to make that right one until sometimes they hit rock bottom and finally wake up. I think we have a break this half hour. We could go to the break now and we'll come back.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Hey, Cayman, this is DJ Lynn. Catch me live weekdays from 7 till 10 a.m. on The Morning Breeze, our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM. We're waking you up with the best adult contemporary hits with the 70s, 80s, 90s, and much more. So start your morning the Cayman way with me, DJ Lynn, on The Morning Breeze.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Well, we were talking about alcohol during the show today. And just before we went to the break, we were talking about, that there's help in our community. Let's see here. In the Cayman Islands, some of the services that are available, especially when it comes to counseling. The Department of Counseling Services, offers free individual, family, group counseling. The Counseling Center, the Family Resource Center. We've had them on the show here quite often. And people who are in need of counseling, whether it's for alcohol or, just other mental health issues, can find a lot of help there at the Family Resource Center. And lots of times, mental health issues and addiction are linked, and no one should be ashamed of needing to go to a counselor. And I can assure you that with the Family Resource Center, having had them on talk today, it's all confidential. You can go there and, have someone who can give you the advice, listen to what it is that you are trying to resolve in your life. And it's all confidential. It's free. And I've seen a number of people who have really gotten some excellent help by going to the Family Resource Center. And when people can't resolve a lot of those personal issues is when they turn to substance abuse. And it is a sad thing to see, lives that go down the drain just because of people who are unable to resolve some conflict within themselves. And as we touched on with our caller, when he said that he had family on both sides who had alcohol problems. And there is some evidence of, when you look at alcohol as a disease, that there is the factor of hereditary alcoholism, that it can run in families. Now, some people might say, well, that's because the child saw the parent drinking and they took it up too. Maybe. But from what I understand, there is evidence of it being genetic, that you tend to have that weakness of not being able to drink alcohol without, getting addicted to it. But whether it is inherited, whether it is something that because of mental health issues, if you have problems with alcohol, try and get help. Help is out there for you. You're probably not going to do it on your own, even though, as our caller said, you have to be honest with yourself in the end. counselors can show you the path, I guess. But it's up to the individual to be honest with themselves and, take that step and want to make a change in their lives. And people can do it. We've seen a number of examples in here. Again, through the Hope for Today Foundation. I know we had one young man who had turned himself around, but again he went through counseling, the whole 12-step program, and after counseling, he ended up at Hope for Today, where they learned to live a more disciplined life, because they have to be in that program. They have to keep within the rules. There's Hope for Today. It's not just the 12 steps, but they have rules to be a part of that residential community. And some of those people that are being helped there, in their prior life, there was no discipline. There was no boundaries. And that's why they could not function within society. They could not function without, they just simply could not function. And went down a road of chaos. And with the help of some of these places like Caribbean Haven, to pull themselves, out of the depths of addiction and try and bring their lives back together again. And then they go on to Hope for Today, which is a halfway house type of situation. They have to live by, some very strict rules, and a lot of them have graduated from there, and now live useful lives. We're going to have get Brent Hides back in here and talk more about that, because that is an issue in Cayman. Mental health, addiction. Like I said, many times there is that connection there. And when people go down that road, and it is surprising sometimes, people who are smart people, they're good people, but addiction gets them. Addiction gets the best of them. And it's not because they're a bad person, but what goes on inside of a person, we never know sometimes what is eating away at somebody. Some incident that happened at some point in life, or as our caller was talking, he was trying to drain a rum bottle at 8 years old. And if you're in an environment that, is conducive to alcohol addiction. It just exhilarates it. It just it's puts you on a fast track to being alcoholic. Well, he said someone handed him his first beer at 13 years old. And then there are the friends that he said about, he no longer uses that word, he calls them acquaintances. Because they say they're your friend, but they're not doing you any good. It's okay to have another one. Yeah, you can have another one. And they say that they're your friend, but they're just leading you down a path that's going to end in disaster. I mean, they're headed to disaster, and they're bringing you with them, right? So he calls those people acquaintances, and when they're just drinking buddies, really, not friends. But if you are out there and you find yourself with that kind of problem, there's help. There's help in our community. Just find it within yourself to ask for help. And like I said, there's a number of free counseling services. Don't wait to be like many people who ended up at places like Caribbean Haven because of a court order, because that's how some people got into it. They drop so low that it's because of the courts that they end up where they are, getting rehabilitation, because their life has become such a disaster that, they're always finding themselves on the other side of the law. And it's because of the courts putting them in rehabilitation that they end up there. Because unlike our caller, they never found it within themselves to be honest with themselves. They always had one more excuse why they had to have that one more drink. And they always make that promise, that false promise of, just help me this one more time. I remember Brent Hyde's telling a story like that, that where the family just has to take a stand and say, we're not doing it anymore. This is it. I bailed you out one time too many. And you promise there's going to be a change, but the change never comes. So the family cuts off the person because they can't just continue to go on and on. And that the person is more isolated again, and finally hits rock bottom, ends up in court doing something because of something that they have done. And it's probably not the first time, they've ended up in court, and the court puts them into rehabilitation. And hopefully they find themselves trying to put themselves back together. But you don't have to wait to go to court. You could, if you reach out, you can put yourself in a position where you can get some help and live a more productive life. Well, it is 2:30, and that means we have to wrap this up. Call it an afternoon for Talk Today. Thanks for joining me here. Yannick, you have a good afternoon.
Likewise.
I'm Charles Glidden. One love.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.